Mario is kind of the ultimate blank slate. Sure, he's the funny wahoo plumber platformer man, but he can be molded into any genre or type of game Nintendo wants. Tennis? Sure. Kart racing? Sure. Doctor? Absolutely. He even became a goddamn cement factory worker at one point. Due to his blank slate, Nintendo has made sure just about every corner of the gaming market has something Mario. Except for MMOs, we haven't had a Mario MMO yet. Because of this, of course Mario has delved into the RPG genre. Multiple times, in fact. It all started when Nintendo and Squaresoft, later known as Square Enix, made Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. This was a Super Nintendo RPG made by the guys behind Final Fantasy. Of course it would do well. For the Nintendo 64, Nintendo worked with Intelligent Systems on a sequel called, well, Super Mario RPG 2. Problem is, Nintendo doesn't actually own the rights to that game, which you'd think is weird because it's a Mario game. It's like if Marvel didn't have rights to the Spider-Man films they make. Bad example. Actually, Spider-Man is a great example. The shit going on there is basically what's happening here. The game was co-owned by Nintendo and Square, so neither company could do anything without the other. As a result, Mario RPG 2 was renamed in Japan to Mario Story. You really couldn't have thought of something better? All these games before this one could be considered Mario Story. At least internationally they renamed it to Paper Mario, because none of these games have the world made out of dead trees. Let's look back at this RPG classic and see what this Mario Story is. Upon opening the game, you get a lore dump. So there's this group of star spirits who use this wand to make the wishes of the Mushroom Kingdom come true, and uh-oh, it's the bad guy. Bowser tapes Kammy Koopa into the story and steals the Star Rod, and somehow these star spirits have no power to do anything. Despite this game being called Paper Mario, this tape to insert Bowser and Kammy into the story is one of the only times where the paper aspect actually means something. It's a neat little joke. I hope they don't overdo it in a future game. When I select a file, the game asks me to name it. I get this is probably for families. You know, you name your file and then a sibling names theirs, and now you know whose file is whose. But I'm the only one playing this game, so I entered balls. Listen, what else was I supposed to put here? Boobs? Starting a new game brings us to the Mario Bros house with Mario's name plastered on the front. Poor Luigi. Yeah, I know their last name is Mario, and it makes sense when you consider that calling them the Mario Bros, or even stuff like Dr. Mario makes it clear that Mario is the last name. But I mean, come on, it's still funny to look at the house with Mario's name on it. Wait, so if their last name is Mario, doesn't that mean Dr. Luigi should also be Dr. Mario? Mario and Luigi get a letter from Peach inviting them over for a party, which is irresponsible of her. You should give at least a couple of days notice first. At the party, there's this Toad who guards Peach's room, but you could get what you want asking you over and over to enter. Basically, Mario's like my brother. I found Peach and oh, would you look at that, we're all alone, ready to chat, if you know what I mean. And by chat, I mean have the castle get lifted to space like it's 2007 and fight Bowser. Welcome to the battles of this game. Thrilling. Bowser shows off his rod to me and now I can't do shit to him. Anyway, Mario dies like it's March 31st, 2021, then gets thrown out like it's Revenge of the Sith. I'm greeted by Star Spirit... Spirits? Apparently I'm gravely injured, and if after that kind of fall Mario is only gravely injured, he might not even need Luigi to solo Sephiroth. A Goomba finds me and tries to help, but unfortunately touching a Goomba kills Mario, so I die. I wake up after a week of sleeping, guess my alarm didn't go off, and now I'm in Goomba Village, where only one family and a random Toad live. I try to leave, but Kammy drops a block in the way. Despite the fact that, being made of paper, I can easily fit through here, and even if not, Mario can definitely jump high enough to get over. I have to talk to an old guy instead. I go to see him, but then fall and die again. I meet up with Goomba and get a hammer, only to be attacked by a small toddler. On the first turn, I decided to do nothing, which, as it turns out, isn't a smart move in a fight. I then beat up a child. On the way back, there's a couple more Goombas I can fight, and I like the approach this game takes to battles. There's no random encounters, the enemies are all avoidable if you don't want to fight. Even if you do, you want to strike them first for a hit right at the start. You also get to use your hammer in these fights. However, right now the battles are a bit dull. It's a later mechanic that makes them more interesting. I make it back to the village and then start to bring along a child on my journey, which is definitely the responsible thing to do. Each partner you get in this game has their own abilities in and out of battle, but Goombario is the most useless. You don't need him at all to navigate the world. All he is just a little nerd who gives a hint here and there on shit if you need it. I also get given a badge, which is a mechanic in this game where you use points gotten through level up to allow for extra abilities. This is an aspect of the battle mechanics that I really like, the customization. You have limited points you can use to equip these abilities, and you can change them on the fly based on what enemies you might be facing. It keeps a wonderful balance between allowing you to customize freely, while also putting on a limitation to prevent them from being too overpowered. They also promote exploration, as you'd find more through exploring, gaining money, as you can buy badges, and leveling up, as then you can upgrade the PvP to equip more at a time. The first thing I see upon leaving is this "Beware of Goombas" sign, which is not only funny because a Goomba pops out and attacks, but also because it's posted right outside the village. It's like putting up a "Beware of Trees" sign right next to a forest. I find these red and blue Goombas and they act as the first mini-boss. I wallop them and then I go fight the big Goomba, who I also proceed to wallop. Cut back to Bowser and he enlists the help of the fucking Ninja Turtles to kill me. I go to Star Haven and get an exposition dump about how the spirits became Pokemon cards or something. Cut back to Peach and she meets a Twink. Twink is a baby star spirit who is sent off on a mission to deliver a necklace to Mario, and, well, he does succeed. Here is where the mechanic that makes the battles special come into play. When an enemy attacks, you can press A to block and reduce the damage. You can also press A or use a joystick to do an extra jump or do a stronger hammer swing. This makes the battles so much more interesting. Now you have to actively pay attention, making the battles more involved and less of a mash A game. The main reason I feel people don't like turn-based RPGs is because at times battles can be so mind-numbing and slow. However, a little addition like this drastically lowers that feeling on the player, making it more exciting even for people not typically into RPGs. This weird toad blocks the path, so I call on a wizard to take care of them, revealing their identities, and then it's off to Chapter 1, Storming Koopa Bros' Fortress. You know, these guys being the Koopa Bros also implies these guys have Koopa as their last name. I make my way over to Koopa Village, where they're being terrorized by black hairballs with faces. This Koopa in particular had his shell stolen, which seems silly because it's a kid's game, but that Fuzzy basically just stripped this guy. I have to play a game and bonk the tree the Fuzzy is hiding in, and oh man, this might be a little too fast for me. With this, I get a new partner, Cooper, and I will never see Goombario again. Cooper has the ability to get kicked, so I don't know why I needed him. I could have just done the same with Goombario. I reach this fortress where the Ninja Turtles are hiding, and I enter the first dungeon of the game. Dungeons are pretty simple. You go from room to room collecting keys and using them to unlock the next door. There are enemies scattered about, puzzles to solve. Hell, I even had to do some platforming here. Look at this! Along the way, I fell for a trap and now I'm locked in prison with a bunch of bombs. Despite being bombs, meaning their whole thing is blowing up, none of them had tried blowing up the wall to fucking escape, so you know what? You guys can all rot away in here. Except you come with me. The people of Toad Town are not gonna be ready for what I'm about to do. I reach the top and oh fuck, it's Bowser. I nuke him and never mind, it's just the damn turtles. The Koopa Bros are the first proper boss fight of the game, hitting hard and with lots of HP. They like to stack themselves up like the lions reaching the flying Pokemon, and I had to slowly whittle them down one by one. After I finish killing the Bloodline, I grab the cool new trading card and then get interrupted by Peach. After each chapter, you get one of these intermissions, basically just a nice little break from the action. I really like these intermissions as they not only supply an organic and natural way for the player to learn where to go next in their journey, this time being Bowser's diary mentioning the dry ruins, they also develop Peach more. In the mainline Mario games, Peach is a non-character, a character who exists solely to justify the protagonist going after the antagonist and starting the plot. Don't get me wrong, this is perfectly fine for those games. The entire plot of every game could be summed up in 3 words. I wasn't expecting a deep and complex character here, however, that sort of thing simply would not work in an RPG. Don't take that as me saying that they should never add more depth to story and characters in a Mario platformer. I would love that. They gave a little bit of character to Bowser in Odyssey by him having an actual reason to do what he does other than I'm hungry and Peach has good cake. They absolutely could squeeze in more dialogue or cutscenes to add a little bit of story, but my point is that when you play a platformer, you want to navigate levels and avoid obstacles. Adding any storytelling can often feel more like it's breaking the pacing or a nuisance if anything. With an RPG, on the other hand, the story is a lot more important. Sure, there will be a lot of people coming for gameplay, but for RPGs, story is more essential. More so than any other genre other than visual novels or games that are basically just interactive movies. Part of telling a story is having characters that are, characters, and having them actually doing stuff. They could have very easily just skipped over these sequences and left Peach as just a damsel in distress, not appearing again until the very end, but they made her work from the inside to help Mario. Here, for example, she is trying to learn more about Bowser's plan to help direct Mario on where he should go for the next Star Spirit. This will develop in later chapters, but for now, just keep in mind that I think this is a great addition to the story and character. The Star Spirit gives me the ability to use a new star power gauge to heal, adding a little more to battles as you need to preserve your energy and only use it when it's best to. I also beat up a child again, but not only that, I also lied to him. Arriving back in Toad Town, Twink informs Mario of the information we learned earlier with Peach. Now, I know I just talked about how I like the Peach segments, but now I'm gonna bitch about it a little. We just got a segment where the game laid out clear as day where to go. Now the game is telling me it again. There's no extra information added, no interesting dialogue, it's just regurgitating what we, the player, already know. You may be saying that the cutscene is needed so that Mario also knows the information. I mean, he didn't see what Peach was doing. It would be weird if he suddenly knew where to go, but they could avoid having to tell me twice by just showing Twink with Mario as we cut back, then him flying off. The implication will be that Mario got informed by Twink where to go, and it skips an interruption. Then again, this is a game made for children. I don't know about you, but I have a pretty shit memory, so I'd imagine if I was 5 playing this game, I would forget where to go without this cutscene. It's not a major annoyance, but still, it's an annoyance. Once that was done, I went south and hopped on the train to enter Chapter 2, The Mystery of Dry Ruins. I bump into this dumbass mailman who just lost a letter, so I go find it, bring it back to him, then he tells me he actually lost 2 other letters, which is annoying. I went out to find a letter, then had to waste my time coming back to deliver it, only to be told there's more out there. Just tell me you lost 3 letters to start with. I do that and then he tells me he lost letters all over the place. It's a miracle I managed to get the invite to the castle. This bird interrupts me asking for my ID, so I just lie like I usually do. Then I meet up with this guy. This guy is an archaeologist named Colorado, making him the second one named after a state. When can we get archaeologist New Jersey, huh? I locate Dry Outpost and this guy named Sheik who keeps telling me to give him shit. I give him a lemon and for some reason he actually likes that shit? He tells me to find a town leader, I need to buy some stuff from the store, so I do that and what a twist! Sheik is the town leader! Nintendo needs to stop this oddly specific trend. He gives me a rock. I put the rock on the rock-shaped spot on the slightly bigger rock and unearth the dry ruins. You know, alternatively, I could have just gotten a shovel. I enter and now we have another dungeon. This one requires me to take these artifacts and put them together in these pillars. I also start hearing the voices in my head grow louder every room. In the dungeon, I get the super hammer, allowing me to break more blocks. Why are the dungeons in this game better than the dungeons in the open world Zelda games? There's also a super block, which allows you to upgrade a partner and give them a new ability. Each partner you get can learn some nifty new attacks, except Goombario, who's still more useless than a leaf. At the end, I come across Koopa, this ancient-ass guy who can throw shells and do some magic. He gets eaten by his own dog and I get a new card. The Peach intermission features Bowser trying to make Peach happy, however, as it turns out, holding her hostage is pretty upsetting. I leave and overhear some guards conveniently talking about everything I would possibly need to know, then I get thrown back into my room. Back over in Toad Town, this fucking pussy is afraid of ghosts. Apparently the ghost is nice though, so it's totally fine to follow him into the dark spooky forest. I move on to Chapter 3, the Invincible Tubba Blubba. The forest here is one of those Lost Woods type areas, where you have different directions you could go, but all but one of them take you back to the start. Here you have to look at the scenery and find the odd one out. Honestly, I hate this puzzle. Even after doing it, I still can't tell some of the differences between them. They can often be a bit subtle. Along the way, I also found this guy. This is a bulb, and he likes giving people his seed. He won't be relevant for another few hours. Eventually, I make my way over to the mansion, over a year earlier than I should anyway. The mansion is a mini dungeon because despite inviting you over and wanting to speak with you, the owner decided to make it a puzzle to reach them. You have all the classics, jumping into paintings, becoming 8-bit despite it not accomplishing anything, and new shoes. Despite these shoes being green, my boots are still brown. Lazy developers strike again. Mario can now ground pound because I guess he needed shoes to be able to use his fat ass. Also, the game calls it a spin jump when it is very clearly not. I should know. I've played Mario Sunshine. I meet up with the manor owner, Lady Bo, and she offers a trade offer of a star spirit in exchange for killing an invincible enemy. Did we not learn from last time? Hey, at least she decides to come along and help as well. With Bo, you can turn invisible to those around you. I've basically been doing this my entire life though, so it's kinda pointless. I go off to Tubba Blubba's mansion and see a guy get eaten alive. Tubba Blubba's mansion is another mini dungeon in which you have to avoid getting caught by using Bo or just by being really good. I get the key, then a chase sequence ensues. However, I never feel like I'm actually about to be caught. It's incredibly easy to avoid him. I use the key to unlock the windmill and find Tubba's heart, which then escapes and hides in his body, thus making him vulnerable. You could have just had the invincible body attack and have the heart run away, stupid dumbass organ. Anyway, he realizes the error of his ways, lets everyone he ate escape, and then I get the Star Spirit. During the Peach section, I overhear a conversation from Cammy and Bowser who somehow don't notice Peach here until they're done speaking. They talk about Shy Guy's toy box, which is our next destination. Bowser also uses me to figure out what Mario hates, and I think Bowser should be smart enough to realize Mario doesn't hate mushrooms. Upon trying to leave the forest, I ran into this little shit again, who I spank once more. In Toad Town, everyone was having items stolen by Shy Guys, and I needed to find them. Entering Shy Guy's toy box took me a while because I didn't realize what I had to do because I'm stupid. I went invisible, let the Shy Guy show the entrance, and went in myself for Chapter 4, Trials in the Toy Box. Turns out, the game wasn't kidding with me being able to select mushrooms as Mario's biggest fear. Here's a neat little thing I like. You get a key in the toy box that you have to bring out to get items from a store. Usually in this game, each area is self-contained. You enter the area where the chapter takes place and you don't have to leave at all. Here, they shake it up a little and have something in Toad Town, which helps make the place more important and makes the world feel a bit more connected, rather than Toad Town just being the gateway to the more important areas. It's also not a major backtrack or anything, so really, I would like to see more of this kind of thing. Doing this gets you a toy train, which leads to you having to put it into the toy box to make it larger and usable. This is a creative puzzle that utilizes the idea of the level being a toy box, therefore the toys will be much larger in comparison to Mario. I also found Gourmet Guy, who requests some good food. I continue on and find a pan, which I return to get a piece of cake. Once again, I like this kind of connection. Before the chapter, it's established that the items were stolen, and now you have to return them by hopping between the areas to get the things you need to progress. It helps tie it all together. The cake is so good that Gourmet Guy moves, and I get a note and a dictionary. I can return these to this guy who uses them to give a puzzle solution. Now we have a mini-boss against a lantern ghost or something. This one took me a bit of strategy because I not only entered the fight unprepared, but you also have to hit the light first a few times before you can attack him, but he also tends to blow out the lantern. Killing him frees our new partner, Watt, a gender-fluid icon. Watt can just light up dark areas, not the most useful or exciting to be honest. Immediately after this, however, is the boss, General Guy. He fights as an army in a toy vehicle with soldiers out front, and his entire fight is based around commanding his army, so when he's all alone, he's a lot more helpless. I love this fight. I beat him and get another Star Spirit. Meanwhile, Peach comes across Gourmet Guy and we have to do a quick baking minigame and make a cake so good this guy actually exercises. He tells us where the next Star Spirit is, so I go down to the port where I find Colorado and this big whale eats me. I kill this weird guy in him and go to Chapter 5, Hot Times in Lavalava Island. Colorado gets assaulted, so I abandon him and make my way to Yoshi Village, which I ignore to go over to the volcano, and well shit, I can't go over there. I return to the village and all the kids went missing. I explore the jungle to find all the kids, and along the way I meet Sushi. Imagine being a fish named Sushi. It's like being a cow named Steak. To be fair, she got stuck in a tree, so maybe she was better off being left to be turned into sushi. I rescue all the kids and get a Diglett with feet. I put it in a statue and get an egg from a tree. What is this, Deltarune? I climb the Skyward Sword tree, then find a big raven. He gives me an orb and I use this to enter the volcano. This dungeon gives me an even stronger hammer, and using this, I can have my own Indiana Jones segment, except Colorado fails to realize and dies. The boss here is a giant-ass piranha plant who is actually really easy to take down. Maybe that's why. No problem still. I get the Star Spirit and the volcano immediately starts to erupt. Colorado tries to reach the treasure but is whisked away as the volcano blows its load. Peach gets invited on a game show because why not, I guess, and I win, getting a magic parasol. I also learned that I need to get some seeds to continue. I found this guy, but he gave a seed to Colorado, so I got the vase in the chest from the volcano and traded it for the seed. I leave the island as little shit arrives and he has to swim back. The side quest to unlock Chapter 4 sucks. It's a lot of backtracking to areas you already been to in order to track down the bulbs. It can take a while to go back between all the places and is quite annoying. Unlike what was done in Chapter 4, which is barely backtracking and serves more of a story purpose. Also, when entering the train to go to the desert, Sushi got stuck behind the platform and I softlocked, so that was fun. I gave a girl my seed and entered Chapter 6, Dark Days and Flower Fields. Kind of a crazy leap going from areas bordering Toad Town to wherever the hell this is, ain't it? The Deku Tree informs me of Huffin, some guy who showed up and now they don't have the sun anymore. Dude, it's just like England! This entire area could be branched off from just this initial room, requiring you to cross through to get the things needed to clear each path and eventually make your way to the end. This flower is pissed about the existence of moles, so I took care of them, then I got a bean. I also wanted to terrorize this innocent bystander, but I accidentally got an item I needed. Oops. Giving the red berry to the red flower lets me pass through to the crystal tree, which I'm not allowed to whack. This flower gave me some dirt and complimented my nose. Great, real nice. This flower is sad at the lack of water. I guess the clouds don't rain at all, so maybe it is in England. She needs the water stone, so I go to the Celadon department store to buy one. And by Celadon department store, I mean this bitch flower who is hoarding it. And by buy one, I mean I have to go back to this flower and have her shit a crystal, then make a trade. I put this thing in the hole and boom, hydration. I trade another berry for a bubble to cross the gap, and over here I meet with the fucking sun. He tells me that I need to break a machine, so I leave to do that. This dumbass nerd tries to stop me, so I kill him. Except not really, because he's gonna be our partner and as such needs plot armor. Lackluster over here can help carry me over large gaps I couldn't otherwise. Except they still need a paracarry to have use, so those gaps can't be a hole. It has to be over lava or spikes. Gubario is still useless, by the way. The way he looks and speaks makes me think he would speak like Morty from Rick and Morty. Anyway, I whack the machine and here comes the sun. No, I will not be singing today. I use a bean to make a beanstalk just appear and go up to the clouds to find Huffin. This fight is fun. You damage him and make him smaller, but then he gets little enemies with him that attack as you do. It's far from a difficult fight, but it honestly might be one of my favorites in this game because of the enemies. Anyway, back to the real game. I become a guard and find this guy ready to leave his shift. I take control of the guy who should take the next shift, and using that, I can explore the upper part of the castle. I find Cammy, who then ruins my plan because I smell good. I feel like this sent a message to some kid out there to never shower. The game gives no direction where to go next, and the only way to figure out is to go to Merlin, who just so happens to be exactly where you need to go. I don't like this. The in-game hints should be a last resort when you're really clueless, but here, it feels like you have to get to that point before the game lets you progress. It's as if the only way to figure out where to go was through a walkthrough, like that's just some bullshit. Anyway, I go through the sewers to reach Chapter 7, A Star Spirit on Ice. The first thing I did was try and break the ice, but then this guy got pissed at me. Anyway, I go to see the mayor and, well, he's dead. I get charged with murder, but instead of hiring a lawyer, I get tasked with finding the real killer. Who do you think I am, Phoenix Wright? While everyone's distracted, I break the ice and get a key, allowing me to enter this building and reach this guy Herringway, an author. One of my favorite little jokes in media is having a character named after a real person, except something is a little different about their name, like how this guy is clearly supposed to be named after Ernest Hemingway, the novelist. Despite this, I can't figure out how a herring relates. This is a clear example of the writers being stupid dumb idiots who don't know their fish or how to make effective puns. Either that, or I'm overreacting. Anyway, I bring him over, he gets charged, and is given the capital punishment, being put near the edge of Antarctica in our global warming world. The mayor then wakes up, so this whole plotline was for nothing. I leave to beat up a kid again and fight this big scary monster. Thing is, it's not a big scary monster, it's a bunch of twinks! Can we go back to the big scary monster? This guy gives me a scarf and combining it with this bucket from the mayor, I could help out the snowman here to reveal the path forward. I hit a switch and uh-oh, now there's 2 Koopas. This is a classic, shoot him, I'm the real one, no shoot him, I'm the real one, sort of deal. You see this all the time in stories. Anyway, I whack the ghost and he gets out of there. Up ahead is an empty room, but what do you do here? It's simple, walk through this wall. This one is kinda stupid, like how the fuck was I supposed to know this wall was fake? Anyway, Madame Merlar here bores me to death and I get a star. Using it, I could summon a staircase up to the Crystal Palace. This place fucking rocks, I love it. I'm a big fan of mirror illusions, and here you need to identify what doesn't line up between the mirror and the real world, deal with more as a clones, except this time here where, gee, I wonder who the real Koopa is. You even go into the fucking mirror yourself. This shit is just so fucking cool, man, I don't care what you say. At the end is the Crystal King, who I mainly took down by stunning him throughout the fight. Chapter 7 might be my favorite chapter in the game. Between the goofy murder mystery and the cool Crystal Palace, it is just so fun and great and well executed. Peach also immediately gets tied up, and I'm surprised it took this long for Bowser to make some serious measures to make sure she doesn't escape. I go up to Star Haven, and with the power of the stars, I get beamed up. I get a new power called Starbeam to nullify the Star Rod, then they give me a ship to go up to Bowser's Castle and enter Chapter 8, a star-powered showdown. A lot of this chapter is pretty much going from room to room, fighting enemies and solving puzzles. I come across this big Bowser door that drops me into a prison. Here we get to use a ton of partner abilities, which I really like. It's nice having usage for everyone right before the big finale. Well, except for you. There's this cave section which I think is cool, and it doesn't feel out of place with the castle aesthetic because remember, this castle was built underground and then lifted into the sky. It's not weird to have a cave here. I free the prisoners, do more puzzles, this time with water levels, bring back a few brief flashbacks. This door asks me some questions on the enemies who show up, I deal with a Duplighost, and aw fuck, I have to fight the Koopa Bros again. Alright, this should be no You! I'm about to make this guy into the mother of all omelets. I just can't fret over every egg. I enter Peach's castle and oh hey, it's Peach and Bowser. We fight, I depower him with Starbeam, and with that, I just beat the game. Just kidding! Anyway, now it's time for the real fight. You could tell it's the real final boss because they did the classic Mario fake out of, oh, you beat Bowser, congratulations. Just kidding, he's back and bigger now. He uses the Star Rod and uh-oh, I can't beat him. The fight gets put on hold for a moment as Peach and Twink fight Cammy in a fight that is a bit of a slog to get through. It's not really a fight, more so a cutscene you have to mash A to get through, and it can take a good bit of time. Using Twink's power, Starbeam is upgraded and can actually do shit. The final battle can now properly ensue, and it's a fun one. The fight demands mastery of blocking attacks, as otherwise you could be poisoned, have your partner temporarily injured, or even lose abilities temporarily, which is cool. The fight is definitely on the tougher end with this game, but overall, it isn't too difficult, and I win. The arena explodes and sends Bowser flying. Mario and Peach are rescued by the Star Spirits, they thank me, and dawn of a new day. Everyone gets invited to a party Peach is hosting, and I head off. Funny little thing here, you can hold down and skip Luigi going down the pipe, fucking up the entire sequence as Luigi isn't here anymore. That's a funny little fact I learned like 5 years ago when I watched videos on glitches in this game without actually playing the game. Peach dedicates the party to Bowser's defeat and the credits roll. Hey, looks like Luigi showed up after all. Paper Mario is the best RPG on the Nintendo 64. Sure, only 3 of those released on the system in North America, but no one needs to know that. The game is brimming with the Mario charm and colorful characters, while also delivering a serviceable story that isn't simplified into 2 sentences, but at the same time a toddler can process what's going on. The battles are more exciting and involved than most other JRPGs, there's plenty of content worth your time, and the chapter system makes it feel like each little world has its own story, helping make each area its own rather than just part of a larger narrative. Sure, some parts do suck, such as some parts of some chapters being really slow or stupid to get through, but hey, overall it's a great time. It helped spawn a successful franchise with sequels on every Nintendo home console and 1 handheld, despite how mixed the reception of later games may be. With the remake of the 1000-Year Door last year, Nintendo has shown their interest in supporting this franchise going forward, and honestly, that's great. 1000-Year Door has been shaken up to be an incredible game from the online discussion I've seen, so I'm looking forward to giving it a try myself.